Women are getting raped because of the way they present themselves with their clothes. Women are getting abused sexually because of the behaviors they repeatedly show. Women are experiencing sexual misconduct because of their promiscuous past of lust, seduction, and sex. Imagine saying all of that while knowing Na-young, an 80-year-old girl from South Korea who got raped and mutilated by then 56-year-old Cho Do-soon inside a bathroom in a church. These sexual abuse and violations against women have plagued the entire world since the time before Christ, a pandemic lasting longer than any other pandemic to ever last. It has become a staple, a culture normalized by our society to the point that what's wrong is what's normal. And from events from previous centuries, violations against women have only risen and evolved to whatever it has come to today in different forms and types. Sexual harassment is one of the most common forms of sexual abuse and identified by UN Women and social weather stations as unwanted comments, gestures, and actions forced onto someone in public places without their consent. With just this, it isn't really that hard to imagine how someone could simply open the door of their house to go forth the outside world to be met with someone showing one or more forms of sexual harassment towards them. It's scary as well due to the fact that 3 out of 5 men are admittedly committing at least a single form of sexual harassment, and the fact that more women than men think that it's the woman's fault for being harassed makes succor that much harder for the victim, as 50% of women did nothing after incidents of sexual harassment. Most of the time, sexual harassment leads to something worse that'll surely scar someone immensely, this being rape. Another type of sexual abuse. Rape, the sexual intercourse against a person's will, is oftentimes insinuated by different forms of sexual coercion, such as sweet talks, threats, and drugging, among others. The rate of reported rape cases in the Philippines continually rise at the most current, growing at an average annual rate of 19.08%. And there has been a 30.6% increase in the number of rape cases reported in the Philippines in 2019. These figures also show that women and children continue to be the most vulnerable to sexual crimes as increasing numbers grow at an alarming rate, affecting tons of people each day. Yet, it continues to flourish. With the advancement of today comes the further implication of sexual abuse and how it has moved towards another platform, a platform that reaches anyone better than how we reached each other with mere face-to-face interactions. And that is online. Sexual abuse online has led to 7 in 10 women experiencing sexual harassment on various social media platforms. Use of social media subjects women in forms of harassment other than sexual, including threats of physical violence, body shaming, stalking, and use of language in an abusive and insulting manner. This platform has also welcomed solicitation of minors through the use of internet, where about 79% of girls reported to have received threats of sexual violence on social media. So all of this because of what? The women themselves, because of what they wear, do, or have done in the past? No, especially when all they do is be themselves. Life is already hard without us dictating women how they should act. We live in a patriarchal society where objectifying women is still normalized. Heinous behaviors that gets acted upon despite the lack of consent, all because people can't grow from the mindset that anyone showing a bit of skin is asking for it. That instead of blaming the perpetrator for what they did, we blame the victims for not living up to the 1880s standard of a woman. It's time for us to move on from that thinking and start being progressive by teaching ourselves to always ask for consent and engrave in our minds that in the language of consent, yes means yes. Let no be the default. It's a no-go until they say so, and that anything that isn't a yes is a no. Respecting and putting others first before what you thirst for is a step closer to removing ourselves from behaving like animals about to turn on its prey and replacing it by letting people live their lives and comfortably without fear surrounding their every movement.